Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nivishesha Shamyavadi Praskachadi Satani Vancha Kalpavrksa Sakrivasandabhya Vichapatitanam Bhavanebhya Vaishnavibhya Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today is the disappearance day of Srivasa Pandit. So we pray to Srivasa Pandit. We pray to his brothers. Srivasa Pandit, Narada Muni entered into Srivasa Pandit. Sri Ram, Parashara Muni, Sri Nidhi, and Sri Pati, 4 brothers, and Srivasa was the eldest. And then their father, Jalakadama, Jalakaraj, can't quite remember. And then Malini, the wife, she is Ambika, the maidservant of Mother Yasoda in Vatsalya Ras. Ambika entered into Malini. So Srivasa Pandit is the most important branch of the Chaitanya tree. If we look in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 10, where it mentions the branches of the Chaitanya tree, the first one is Srivasa Pandit. He's the first one. Then Chandrasekhar. He was like an associate of Jagannath Mishra, so he was older. He was like surrogate father, replacement father. Chandrasekhar, also known as Acharya Ratna. And then the next one, Pundarika Vidyanidhi. And then, of course, Gadadhar Pandit. And then it continues, Vakishvara Pandit, Gopal Guru, Dhyana Chandra, etc. So we pray to this Srivasa. Every night Lord Chaitanya would go, not every night, when he was in Navadvip at a particular time. For 1 year he would go to Srivasa Sangam and chant with the devotees there. It was private kirtan. Oh, private. Sort of like nowadays with the COVID, private. So Srivasa Pandit, there's a verse by Devaki Nandan, who was the disciple of Purushottama Thakur. Purushottama Thakur's father was Sadashiva Kaviraj. So Vaishnava Vandana. And in this Vaishnava Vandana is mentioned that one devotee can liberate the entire Brahmanda or universe. Just one devotee. So we see this with Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. According to information I have, we have 600 centers and over 500 centers with deities. And according to what I heard, I'm trying to check on the validity of this, but Bhagavad Gita has been translated into 98 languages. Ishopanishad 63, 64 languages. Bhagavatam 20, Chaitanya Charitamrita 20 different languages. So Srila Prabhupada, Shakti Vaishavita, like Narada Muni, like Srivasa Pandit, is able to spread Krishna consciousness. We think in terms of this earth planet, but Brahmanda means the universe. Brahmanda is named after Lord Brahma, this particular universe, not just the earth planet, but the moon planets Swagaloka, Janaloka, Mahaloka, Tapaloka, and then Siddhaloka, the residence of Lord Brahma himself, and the lower planets Atala, Vitala. So Shiva's Pandit. It's interesting that according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, because Narada Muni entered into Shiva's Pandit, Shiva's Pandit is a Vaikunthavasi. It seems that he's in a relationship of Aishvarya Gyan, or awe and reverence, with Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. So in that sense, he prefers the Vaikuntha mood, Aishvarya Gyan, than the Vrindavan mood of Braja Bhakti. But still, he is regarded as a most important acharya and respected by Lord Chaitanya. The same with Srila Haridas Thakur. There's 2 chapters in Anjalila, the glories of Haridas Thakur, the departure of Haridas Thakur. But Haridas Thakur, Lord Brahma entered into him. And Lord Brahma is in Dasya Ras. There's 4 types of Dasya Ras. Adhikrita, Asra, Parishad, Anugata. This is all described in Nectar Devotion. So the first one, Adhikrita. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, Yamaraj. So it seems that the exalted Srila Haridas Thakur is also a Vaikuntha Vasi, but no less exalted than Rupa and Raghunath, than the Goswamis, who are of course all Braja Bhaktis. They're all in Madhurya Ras. And Prabhupada has written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 13, I think text 11. No, text 11, text 31. I can get the reference. The followers of Lord Chaitanya mainly worship Lord Krishna in Madhurya Ras. Clearly it is written, 11:31, Madhya. The followers of Lord Chaitanya mainly worship Lord Krishna in Madhurya Ras. But in the spiritual world, everything is absolute. So we have Cowherd Boys, we have Mother Yasoda, we have in Dasya Ras, Madhukanta, Madhubrata, we have Patraka, Ratraka, Ratraka. He is the number 1. Dasya Ras, according to Nectar Devotion. Patri, Suvilas, these are all in Dasya Ras. So Krishna accepts it equally, because on the spiritual platform everything is absolute. So definitely we should pray to Shiva's Pandit, that we can also one day, when we become advanced enough, enter into Shiva Sangam. That is our ardent spiritual desire, that we can witness, hear, see and smell what is going on in Shiva Sangam when the devotees would dance. The most important place for us. And before Srila Prabhupada traveled to the West, there's that story of him going to Shiva Sangam and taking permission from the associates of Lord Chaitanya, Srivasa, etc. And then after that he went to Calcutta and Jaladuta and New York. So we're reading also from the Desire Tree, Gauranga, Stava, Kalpavrksa, and there's 11 verses. So verse number 10, this is by Raghunath Das Goswami, translated by Krisakrata Prabhu, my senior godbrother. It's 1 volume, Stavadi. Stava Mala is Rupa Goswami, Stavadi is Raghunath. So this is Raghunath, and this is quoted also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Anchalila. Text number 10. As Lord Narayan is kind to Garuda, he is kind to Govinda Das. As Lord Krishna is devoted to his Guru, he is devoted to Ishvara Puri. As Lord Giridhari loves Subal, he loves Sri Damodar. May that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arise in my heart and madden me with love. Every verse ends with this. Gauranga, Hridaya, Udaya Mam Madayati. Madayati, mad, Mam, me, Gauranga with the love of Lord Chaitanya. So this is the last verse, text 11. This is a verse of humility. Although, Raghunath speaking, although I am a fallen soul, the lowest of men, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered me from the blazing forest fire of great material opulence by his mercy, under Kupam. He handed me over in great pleasure to Sri Damodar, his personal associate. The Lord also gave me a garland of small conch shells that he wore on his chest and a stone from Govardhan Hill, although they were very dear to him. May that same Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awaken within my heart and madden me with love. So Raghunath is saying, although I am a fallen soul, Patita Pavan, the lowest of men, Naradama, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered me from the blazing forest fire of great material opulence. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is Raghunath's opulence, material opulences, compared to that of Indra's opulence. He had a most beautiful wife, some Bengali lady, and he was extremely wealthy. He was the only son of his father, Govardhan, and Govardhan's elder brother was Hiranya, and they were landowners, fabulously wealthy. So from this, Raghunath is saying it's a blazing fire of great material opulence. He handed me over in great pleasure to Sri Damodar, his personal associate. So one now has to understand ontologically. Why Sri Damodar? Sri Damodar, previously Purushottama Bhattacharya, is Lalita Devi, Anuradha. Lalita Devi entered into Sri Damodar. So Raghunath Das Goswami's spiritual swarup is Rati Manjari, sometimes called Tosi Manjari. I've heard also sometimes called Bonamati, but that's also Jiva Goswami. But one name can be applied to, one name of a Manjari or Gopi can be used many times. For example, in Ujjwala Nalamani, chapter 4, text 1, Rupa Goswami says there are two main gopis, Chandravali and Radharani, and they each had 10 million followers, and they associated together on the bank of the river Jamuna, and altogether there was 1 billion gopis. Satakoti. Koti, 10 million, so 1 billion, Sata 100. So it's mentioned clearly, Radharani had 10 million followers, Chandravali had 10 million followers. These would be gopis and manjaris, obviously not cowherd boys, and obviously no one in Vatsali Ras. And altogether those 1 billion. So now, we can't even come up with 10,000 different names, or to speak of 1 billion different names. So many have the same name, and they all met together on the bank of the Jamuna, and glanced at Krishna, and Krishna glanced at them, and they exchanged flower garlands, and they danced. So many would have the same names. There's no problem. with that. So he handed me, Lord Chaitanya handed me over in great pleasure to Sri Damodar, his personal associate. The Lord gave me a garland of small conch shells that he wore on his chest and a stone from Govardhan Hill that was very dear to him. So the small conch shells, some of the acharyas have mentioned, represents Radharani, the Gunjamala, and the Govardhan Hill, of course, it can represent Hari Dev or Hari Das. There's many different ways of worshipping Govardhan Shila. Generally, people worship, 99% will worship Govardhan as Vishnu, as God. In other words, Hari Dev. These pilgrims that walk around Govardhan Hill, Jai Ho, Giriraj, they're worshipping as Krishna, Vishnu, God. And we understand that Govardhan Hill is also an incarnation of Vishnu. Those who have come in touch with the teachings of Jiva Goswami and Rupa and Raghunath and have understood something from Rasik Vaishnav will understand you can worship Govardhan as Haridashyavaya. Haridashyavaya means the best of devotees. And this came actually from the lips of Radharani. Girinipa Haridashyavaya Shri Radhika Chandra Mukhat. It came from her lotus-like moonlight mouth. The word Haridashyavaya, this verse in Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, Text 18. Haridashyavaya, the best of devotees. In other words, not Krishna, but the best of the devotees. This was spoken by Radharani. So that's another way of worshipping Giriraj, and the way that is preferred by the followers of Rupa and Raghunath. And then I've heard that one can worship as Tadiya. So the example is Maharaj Pratipura wanted to take darshan of Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya was following the social etiquette at that time, and being a sannyas didn't want to outwardly associate with the king. So it was suggested by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I think, that Lord Chaitanya could send his outer garments to the king as a token. And the king accepted these outer garments and worshipped them as non-different from Lord Chaitanya. Now this is called Tadiya. You're worshipping the paraphernalia of the Lord. So that's a third way of worshipping Giriraj, Tadiya. And a fourth way is in some of the commentaries on these verses, the gopis pray, can I also become like Govardhan? And then Lord Chaitanya Lord Krishna can place his feet on me. And in the summer, I will be very cool. And in the winter, I will be warm, to warm the feet of Lord Krishna. And when it's monsoon, then we will be a little bit firm, so there's not too much mud. So they're actually praying in their madness to become stones, shilas, on Govardhan Hill where Lord Krishna can place his feet. But this is called Gopi Bhav. And this is their madness. This is called Purvarag, chapter 21, Purvarag. It's the feelings of separation that the gopis have for Krishna prior to meeting him, prior to seeing him from a distance. So the gopis are in Yavat, and Krishna is at Govardhan Hill, and these 19 verses in chapter 21 all display the symptom of Purvarag, which is separation before meeting Krishna. Ratiya Sangimat Purvam, Darshan Shravana Avnija. Purvaragasa Uchite. There's 4 types of separation with subdivisions, and Purvarag is the first one, not having met Krishna. So the gopis, although they meet Krishna every day, they forget they're covered by Yogamaya Pasrita, and they think, no, I have never met Krishna. Then they meet him, and then the next day again, their remembrance of meeting Krishna is covered. So every time they meet Krishna, it's newer and newer and newer, and Nava Yovana, Nava Rasayanam, Nava Rasayanam. It's newer and newer at every moment. So for sadhaks practicing Krishna consciousness like us, we're not on Bhava Bhakti, and definitely we're not on Prema Bhakti. That's the spiritual world of Vastu City. We are practicing sadhana bhakti to aspire for these sentiments of separation on Purvarag is the most appropriate. Then there's other types of separation like man, ahoitiki, ahoitiki, with cause, without cause. And there's udatta man, lalita man. So out of anger, one refuses to speak with Krishna or apparently appears to be opposed to him. That's called man. And there's prema vaichitya, and then there's pravas. And pravas is kinchidura pravas, sudura pravas, 2 types. Krishna goes out to Talavan forest, and there is some brief separation, and then sudura pravas, big time separation. Krishna goes to Mathura. So different types of separation. So Lord Chaitanya, he gave the garland of small conch shells and a stone from Govardhan hill, although they were very dear to him. So this is why Vaishnavas also worship. They take Govardhan Shila with permission from the Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru. And if they're qualified, and Giriraj agrees, he'll come with them. And they may worship him. And how they worship him, as Haridev or Haridas, depends on their adhikari or qualification. So as far as we're concerned, we are trying to be strict followers of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and follow strictly in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. And the main worshipable deity actually should be Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. Yata yata Gora Padara Vinde. Through them, we can enter into Vrindavan. By the mercy of Nityananda, one gets the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Mamhina, Anilena, Shri Vrindavan, Papistamam, Adama, Shri Rupa Charan. By the mercy of Lord Nityananda, one can enter Vrindavan. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, one gets the mercy of Rupa Goswami. So we must pray to these associates, Advaita and Gadadhar, and today especially Srivasa. We should pray to the Vaishnavas, anyone who's accepted Krishna as the goal of life. We should pray to the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada, our own Diksha Guru, our Siksha Guru, our Param Guru. We should pray to the grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. We should pray to anyone who's a Vaishnava, whether they're in ISKCON or whether they're outside of ISKCON, and try to see them in a favorable way and pray for their mercy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai, Srila Srivasa Pandit ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.